Hi folks, Puffin here with another Antifa News Briefa. Today's hot topic is critical race theory, CRT. It's been hotly debated. You'll see it in the news. You'll see it in protests, they call them. You'll see it in people complaining about critical race theory. Now, it's a hot topic I've been hearing about this week, just today, minutes before making this video. I heard on NPR, an NBC investigative reporter, Tyler Kincaid, was being interviewed for Fresh Air about critical race theory and specifically about the conservative counter response or the conservative attacks on education systems in the name of opposing critical race theory. A few days ago, I heard NPR, The Takeaway Show, interviewing Prudence Carter. And she had a lot of good things to say about critical race theory and about what's going on with the debate over it. Yesterday, Lady Gaga was talking to Dr. Bernice King, Dr. Martin Luther King's daughter, for the beloved community about ending racism, about ending white supremacy, and including critical race theory. She was asked about that early, and she brought it back up at the end of the interview when it was about to end. Lady Gaga says, I didn't want to let it go. I got sidetracked, but I wanted to specifically address critical race theory. And Lady Gaga says she wishes she had that type of instruction when she was a kid in school. That it would have helped having to learn about some of these things later, even recently, that it would have helped to have learned about these things in school at a young age. And it will help. It does help for people who are able to get good education, and it will help other people. Now, the attacks on critical race theory, let me first say critical race theory is basically teaching that racism exists and that there's systematic racism in our society and how it's affected our society, which is teaching the truth in America and what needs to be addressed in order to make America better. Because the whole idea of doing it is that we get better. So they can spin it in a way that sounds like something you can appeal to, meaning the opposition to critical race theory can characterize it in a way that say, oh, you can agree with this. What if they're saying nothing will ever get better and people are always going to be racist and stuff like this? What if they're saying that? Then you can agree with us that that's not good. But they're not saying that, but that's how the conservatives spin it. So they can spin it in such a way that they can get you to agree with something, but agreeing with them is going to be wrong, as you probably should know from everything else they believe in. But let's focus on this particular issue because it's central to what's going on. The guy Tyler Kincaid was talking about how this is kind of a Tea Party response, these webinars and networking of trying to get parents to protest at PTAs and stuff like this against the teaching of critical race theory. And it's the same thing. It's a racist organization shifting to another target. But in this case, the target is kids, the target is education, and it doesn't work. Like here in Colorado, years before the current the current revival of the Black Lives Matter movement, the anti-police brutality protests, because those have been going on for decades, you have to recognize. But this current model of them started last year or the year before even. But before that, there was a protest here in Colorado by school kids because the school board was going to take protest out of the curriculum. They were going to stop teaching about protest. And it prompted a protest. Kids started living history and creating history, being part of history, by walking out of school en masse, by protesting with their feet, getting out of there. And, it caught on. It was going on for a while. Kids were leaving school for a while over this. And I think they got a new school board over it. We should have. It's like, so they're trying to take over school boards in order to oppose teaching kids about racism. Who does that? Who is afraid of teaching kids about racism except for white supremacists, people who, whether they know it or not, are racist? Some of these people don't know they're racist. They just don't understand how racism is so interwoven and built into our society and culture. And, they want to excuse it because they don't want to have to address it. But we have to address it, and we're going to address it, and we can address it in polite and pleasant conversational ways. Trying to stop education doesn't lead to that. So we need to have these conversations and talk about stuff. It's going to backfire on them ultimately. The truth is, they might be able to pass some laws that hopefully get struck down quickly. They might be able to pass some laws that prevent schools from teaching certain things. or they're doing that in different ways. They are preventing schools and teachers from teaching certain things. But as the guy on NPR said today, the teachers are waiting to see how it shakes out. No, we need to oppose that effort at the start and root it out and say, no, you can't do that. You can't tell us what to teach and to avoid the subject of racism in school because you're afraid that people will find out that things are racist and need to change. You can't do that. We have to oppose those efforts. And so this is one thing I wanted to do, but I also wanted to bring out that, like, yes, kids do learn things in school, and it's important what we teach kids in school, and the better stuff we can teach them, the better. But they also learn a lot of stuff from YouTube, and and everybody learns a lot of stuff from YouTube, and other things on the internet are awesome sources of information, good and bad, but they're awesome sources of information. And you can learn so much from YouTube that when you're drawing this much attention to something called critical race theory, that people didn't really know that term not too long ago, and you're drawing attention to it to rally people against it is their goal in order to protect a racist system. That's their goal. What the unintended consequence is, you get that name out there, people are going to talk about it, they're going to have more conversations like this right here, and hopefully you'll have something to say about it too. Leave it in a comment or make another video. I'd love to see it, and leave that link in the comment. But we have to start talking about this stuff in order to stop the racism that exists. It's the only way to do it. And we can have really good conversations about it. And they might be hard conversations, but they'll be really good conversations. And we can't give in to censorship. That's what free speech is all about. That's what America is all about, is being able to let everybody talk and being able to hash it all out and do it in a respectful way. So just that right there, if we can get to that bar where we can all talk about these things, we will break it down. We will end white supremacy. So when Dr. King asked Lady Gaga, will we end white supremacy in our lifetime? I'm talking about, let's end it this year. Let's get this thing going. Let's do it. Let's finish this now and make the world a better place. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, sharing, talking about it. And thanks for being real about what critical race theory actually is, what racism actually is, and how we all need to learn as much as we can about it in order to stop it. Because even if you don't think there's that much of it, the little bit that there is should still be stopped. But there's really way too much of it. We need to root it out. We need to find it everywhere and get it out. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.